Hey guys, thanks for joining me on this beautiful Monday morning. Hope you all had a good Easter weekend. It's probably my 5th time recording this intro. I'm just gonna get down to brass tacks. Today we're talking about 2-year ownership of my 2019 Shelby GT350. Long story short, it's easily the most stressful but also pleasant car I've ever owned. I've had a lot of cars. I think the other day I counted, I'm up to 40 now with this one. Yeah, so front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive. Haven't owned a lot of trucks, but yeah, sedans, coupes, bunch of motorcycles, all kinds of stuff. This by far is the most rewarding and engaging car I've ever even remotely driven and even remotely owned. But that unfortunately is a double-edged sword, because as you can see with my stack of receipts from Mullinax, Ford, and Olympia, my advice is don't always meet your heroes. Or in my case, don't own your heroes. So long story short, I never thought I'd be making this video, but I think it's really important now that these cars are starting to become more affordable, that it's important that I let people know the real life situation with owning these cars. They're really not all they're cracked up to be. They are extremely rewarding to drive and track, and just, I mean, you can daily this if you want, but you know, these cars are very high strung. I mean, they weren't crazy expensive when they came out. They hovered around $65,000 for pretty much the day they came out to up until about a year ago. Now they're like 50 to 60. I mean, a mint condition one you can get for like 65, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Anyways, long story short, about 2.5 years ago, I started a business, did really well, pretty much from the get-go. It's still doing pretty well. We just got this last week. And yeah, I just never ever thought I would own a car like this. And, you know, I said, fuck it. This is why I started the business. I want a sick car. You know, it was a little impulsive, but at the end of the day, I've been looking at these for a really long time. I wanted to settle for a GT, but I was like, you know what, the price difference, prices are so fucked up anyways, I might as well just spend another 20 grand and get the car that I want. So backing up just a little bit, I did some research. You know, obviously anytime you're considering a car, you want to really sit down, not have any drinks in your system, just relax, you know, keep an open mind, keep your composure, you know, hit the Facebook groups, hit the forums, and pretty much everyone has come to the conclusion that the generation 1 of these motors is not Ford's finest work. At the end of the day, the second generations are also having problems, and I can say that because this is a second generation car that went through a second generation engine at 34,000 miles. So let's get right into it. Enough yapping. So I'm gonna go reverse chronological order. So I bought this car in like May 2 years ago, and within a few months I took it to the track. I did a full one-over nut and bolt check, fresh oil, OEM oil, you know, everything by the books. Had zero indication this car was gonna have any problems. It was a used car. It did have a few things on it I'm not going to go into. Nothing forced induction, nothing crazy like that. Nothing that really stood out as alarming. Still great example of the car, you know, everything checked out. Anyway, so we went to the track. Last session, car started smoking. I said, okay, sweet. Fucking awesome. This is exactly what I wanted to happen. So, you know, whatever, I kind of diagnosed it here and there. I was like, well, maybe I put too much oil in it, yada yada. It kept smoking. Long story short, let me see here, I bought this in May. About 7 months later, I was like, all right, this car's getting worse, it's not getting any better. And lo and behold, we've got a whole engine replacement right here under warranty. So when this car went into the shop, pretty much needed everything. So, oh, you know what? I actually have the piston. 1 second. The lead tech at Ford is actually a good friend of mine now. Shout out Tanner. This is the root of all of our problems right here. So the piston rings on cylinder 8, one of them decided to yeet themselves out of the piston and pretty much destroyed the entire intake manifold. A bunch of the runners were cracked. You know, there's speckling and dents all over this piston. The other ones were probably just as bad. So 15 psi of compression in cylinder 8. I think 7 was down to like 120, and then the other ones were fine. Yeah, so we've got full engine, short block, all that good stuff, intake manifold. They pulled off all my accessories and put it on the engine. About 2 months later, car was good to go, mint. The only thing I had to pay for was a couple fuel line fittings were leaking, stuff like that. That I just had them replaced that weren't under warranty. That was 114 bucks. Not a bad deal considering that was probably a $40,000 fix. And then we've got our second issue. So probably 3 or 4 months after I got the car back with the new motor in it, I started having a charging system error. And this was fucking annoying beyond belief. So I put 2 alternators in it, an O'Reilly's one and then OEM one, and it kept doing it. And I was like, okay, checked all the fuses. I had a guy come over that's really good with electricity. He went through the whole car. We couldn't find anything. None. It was, yeah, I don't even want to go into this because this was so frustrating. But anyways, long story short, I took it to Ford. They said it was a fuse. It wasn't a fucking fuse. I told them to take it back. And then what ended up happening was they had to replace the entire engine harness from like the firewall forward. There was a short or something in that harness that was not apparent to anyone. That fixed it. 0 issues since then. But yeah, basically what it would do with the charging voltage would be all fucking over the place. It would sit at 12 and then it would sit at 16 or 17, which is like way too high. That's super annoying. Got that fixed. Okay, finally get the car back, not having any issues for probably a month or 2. And then, oh, this is the second receipt for the alternator. So they actually put a OEM alternator in the car again because I gave them back the one I had thinking it was faulty, and then they put a new one in. And then when they realized that didn't fix it, they diagnosed the engine harness. So that's that. And then a couple months later, probably early spring, it warmed up, wanted to start using the AC again. And it was making that AC noise. If you look up any Mustang GT S550, it's a pretty distinct noise. It kind of sounds like a power steering whine, but it only changes when the AC is on and off. So that was pretty apparent. Apparently it's a pretty common problem with these cars because the compressor is so close to the headers that it essentially gets cooked over time. So replace the compressor assembly, yada yada yada, belt, washer, hexes, bolts, nuts, all that good stuff. Redid the recharge the system for me, even though between you and I didn't have any. So yeah, that was good to go there. I did have to pay for something on this. What was wrong? Oh, that's something different. Okay, so at the same time when I was getting the AC done, I had a purge valve check engine light. So I replaced the purge valve with an OEM one, but again, the wiring harness was fucked up and there was a short in the plug that was not allowing that sensor to read at all. So the purge valve, it worked, but the wiring connecting everything did not. So that was $350 to get that rewired and fixed. I don't know why that wasn't under warranty. It is what it is. So back up actually a couple months prior, sorry, I knew I was doing this chronological. There's just been so much stuff with this car. So back up after I got the engine back, after I got the charging system fixed, I said, okay, my bumper to bumper is gone. If something else happens that's not covered under the powertrain shit, you know, I'm under, you know, it's my problem basically. So I did some Googling and Ford sells what's called an extended service plan, extended service protection, it's called ESP. So there's a dealership, I believe, on the East Coast that specializes in selling these warranties in bulk. Basically, you can get pretty much any warranty for any Ford for various price points. Right now, this car has a 3-year, 30,000 mile full 100% bumper to bumper powertrain, everything warranty, and I think I paid about $2,400 for that. The dealership quoted me about $3,200, so obviously there's a lot of margin on these kind of things. Can't find the name of I'll put it on the screen here when I edit this video, but yeah, they're super awesome. It's a legit Ford warranty. There's a contract. You have to like wire them the money. It's like legit. It's not some like bullshit aftermarket warranty that's gonna, you know, the second you need some work done, all their customer service lines are disconnected. It's not a situation like that. I got that AC fixed 3 days after I paid for that warranty. So, some may say it's a coincidence, some may say it's not. The stuttering in my voice may indicate which one it is. Anyways, so no, I'm not trying to screw anyone over. I've had so many issues with this car that I'm like to the point now where I'm like, okay, just throw money at warranties and see what sticks. So far, everything is stuck. So yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed. And then at the end of the day, we had one more major issue that would have pretty much made this a paperweight for the second time. So luckily, technically our powertrain warranty doesn't end until this June. It's 2024 right now. But like I said, I just wanted to double down all the warranties, and then, you know, for the next 2.5 years, I'm still covered. And then the great thing about the warranty is you can renew the warranty as many times as you want. However, the car cannot be a rebuild or a salvage title. It cannot be heavily modified, and structurally, I think it has to still be intact. Like, it can't have like an egregious amount of rust or anything on it. They will do a full inspection on the car every time you buy the warranty and then renew the warranty. So keep in mind, if you're gonna get one of these warranted or buy the protection plan, make sure it's stock, okay? And not the stock that we tell the police officers it is. Make sure it's stock, as in I'm getting under the car and I'm looking at everything. So keep that in mind, okay? Anyways, so this is our most recent bill to Mullinax. Again, I love you guys. You can clearly tell I bought a car from them. This was kind of a weird one. So a while ago I had an issue where when it was really cold out, shifting from first to second was kind of a bitch, and I was like, well, maybe this transmission doesn't like to be that cold. I mean, we're talking like 30s, 20s. If it was dry out, I didn't care how cold it was. I was driving the car. But yeah, I remember the tipping point was there's a hill in my neighborhood when you leave the neighborhood, and I couldn't get the car out of first gear. And I was like, okay, I think we have a bigger problem. And then I couldn't put it into second gear once I finally got it out of first. And then it gets even better. The car kept dying in neutral. The clutch was like sticking, and like the car couldn't go into neutral. So I limped it back home, jumped in the van, did what I needed to do. Pretty much immediately made an appointment. No, you know what? I did not jump back in the van. I actually drove the car straight to the dealership, and I called my wife. I said, hey, when you get off work in a little bit, I picked me up. I'm gonna go have wings and get drunk because this fucking car is gonna cost me $1 million again. So she picked me up from the dealership, and then like 2 weeks later, they were like, okay, we're gonna replace the clutch and the flywheel under warranty. And I said, wow, how did I manage that? That never happens. That's a wear item. Like, no one's replacing that stuff under warranty. And he goes, yeah, there's something wrong with it. It's weird. It's a weird situation. We're just gonna replace it. I said, all right, awesome. Can you throw in a throwout bearing in there too, and we'll call it a day? And they said, we got you. So then I text my buddy, Tanner, like a week later, and I go, hey, any updates? No rush, I just wanted to know. And he goes, yeah, your transmission's fucked. I was like, come again? And he sent me a picture. I'll put it up on the screen here. So I believe that is the last bearing on the output shaft at the end of the transmission, or the front, whatever you want to call it, pretty much exploded. I mean, this thing was in like, 500 pieces essentially. So weird early failure, considering this car, as far as I know, has never had forced induction on it. Yeah, for a stock car to go through that much, rear diff has had zero problems. So I didn't really have any indication that would happen. I mean, the shifting was getting a little tight, but I'm like, whatever, it's race car shit, like who cares? And then, yeah, when I couldn't shift into first and second, I was like, all right, we got a problem. So this is fully covered under warranty as of 2 months ago. Manual transmission, remove and install, clutch assembly, flywheel, breather tube for the transmission, bolts, gaskets, nuts, fluid, clutch slave, and then the pilot bearing, clutch pressure plate, flywheel, and then there's steps to relearn stuff. I don't know, there's some internal stuff you got to do with the programming when you put a new transmission in or something. And then that was pretty much it. Diagnosed, you know, they drove it for a little bit, make sure everything was good to go. And then the only thing I had them do on this was I said, well, we got a brand new transmission, we might as well service the diff. So they flushed and replaced the rear diff with brand new fluids. It's a little bit of a process on this because there's a diff cooler. So I think they have to like plug it into the machine and cycle the diff fluid and then make sure they got all that nasty shit out of there. But so yeah, that's it. If I had to take a wild guess on how much money is sitting in those piles of papers right there, I mean, full engine rebuild, brand new short block, intake manifold, all that labor and shit like that, I'm guessing that's probably in the north of $30,000 to $40,000. And then we've got the wiring harness and the alternator. That was, if I had to guess, probably about $3,000 with labor and everything. I could be off, but I'm just speculating here. And then we've got the AC system. That condenser, I believe, not the condenser, the pump, the compressor is, I think those are like $1,200 brand new. And then all the labor and everything, and they're recharging the AC. I'm gonna put that at like $2,200. And then we've got the transmission, clutch, flywheel, throwout bearing, all that good stuff. That's probably, I think these transmissions used on eBay are like 5 to 7 grand. I'm gonna put that at like 12 because it's a brand new transmission, brand new clutch, brand new flywheel, 10 or 12, let's go around there. So, you know, let's do some short math here. So we're looking almost the value of the car, literally. I paid, this is in, mind you, 2022. I paid $64,000 for this car, which I know it sounds stupid, but everybody was buying cars at stupid prices back then, so leave me alone. $64,000 for that car plus tax. So this car has pretty much had its value in warranty work done. So please, for the love of God, or gods, whatever you believe in, get a GT350 under warranty. And if you cannot get a GT350 under warranty, you need to seriously be prepared for shit like this to come up. After the first track day I had, I've never driven this car hard for more than like 2 or 3 minutes. Quite frankly, I don't really trust it. It's to a point now where I trust it because pretty much everything's brand new, but at the end of the day, it's just, I would get in this car constantly and it would just cause me anxiety. It's overwhelming. You don't know when you're gonna have a problem. You don't know if it's gonna be covered under warranty. I mean, thank the gods that I have Mullinax, because if it wasn't for them, I can imagine other dealerships giving me the runaround on all kinds of bullshit. Oh, hey, these tires look like they've been worn on the track, yada, yada. There's all kinds of horror stories you hear about this shit. So when you're considering Mustangs, just remember, this is the holy grail of naturally aspirated Mustangs, but it doesn't come without its fair share of problems. So I just wanted to make this video. I know this is, I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this whole thing, but I just hope that if you're considering spending $60,000 on a used Mustang, that you watch most of this video and you know, just be prepared for what you're getting into essentially, because you're gonna be balls deep once this thing breaks. So at this time, I think the only situation where you could get one of these under warranty is maybe a 2020, and then if it's already has an extended service plan, you could probably renew it. Do some research, don't quote me, but I think the days of these cars being covered under warranty are kind of over with. Unfortunately, they stopped making them in 2020. That's pretty much it. So I'm gonna quit rambling. I'm gonna try to edit this video down to 15 minutes. I think we're looking at 22 minutes now. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I still love the Mustang, and I've got a lot of cars here. I've got an adventure bike, I've got a Raptor, Bronco, I've got a slow little Civic EP3. Yeah, so I've got a lot of choices, but at the end of the day, this thing gives me the most excitement. Unfortunately, it also stresses me out the most. So, you know, highs and lows, that's what life's all about. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.